Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage is MIKEKINGBIZ, the voice of RVA business media. At MIKEKINGBIZ, we celebrate the idea that business makes society better. On behalf of the whole MIKEKINGBIZ ecosystem, we say a big thank you.
MIKEKINGBIZ, the premier business media brand covering and connecting Central Virginia. It's home to MIKEKINGBIZ Radio, producer of On the Mic with Mike RVA, which airs on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3 FM, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Follow MIKEKINGBIZ for the best business-ish content in RVA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. This is part of the MIKEKINGBIZ Media Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1 every day from 5 to 7 a.m. International Business Growth Radio, Saturdays 10 a.m. in the East, as well as CW Richmond TV, Wednesday and Fridays 5 a.m. This is the place where the game changers come to talk. We are showing RVA in a different way, showcasing how all the game changers come and make Richmond a better area to live, work, and play. It is my honor coming to you from the Richmond Public Library, the children's section, to be specific. I'd like to thank my man, Don Treese Brown, for bringing him into this. This is an event we brought in an acclaimed author, Miss Maya Smart is here. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, so it is your sort of a homecoming. I always say this is a business show, so tell folks who you are and what you do.
I am Maya Payne Smart, and I'm the author of a book called Reading for Our Lives, a literacy action plan from birth to six. And it's really just my mission to get every kid ready for reading, especially Black kids, because there have been so many disparities in reading achievement.
One of the things that we had talked about, I had asked you, were you the kid who was the writer? You had said that was you. Talk a bit about why that's so important when you have younger kids getting started early to lay the seed for why we're in a place like the Richmond Public Library, why it's so important.
It's so important to start early because there's so much rapid brain growth and development that happens even before kids are 2 years old. So oftentimes parents, families don't start thinking about reading until kids are school-aged. And by then you've missed years of opportunities to build vocabulary and get kids interested in books.
All right, the birth of your book. How long ago did the idea that you wanted to write a book, how long ago did that happen?
I've always known that I wanted to write a book. I did not always know what the topic of that book would be. So this particular book really was born when my daughter was born. And I just got curious about what specifically drives reading success in our children. What can we as parents do to set them up for success? So that's when the question started brewing.
So as the mom, this was birthed out of having a daughter and learning the process. So when people come to you and they talk, what are some of the things as parents you give them, things that they should do to encourage reading in their kids?
You said the main word and thing I give them is to talk. I think oral language, building vocabulary, having back and forth exchanges with kids is critically important. And people don't understand the connection between talk and reading, but kids need to have such a large bank of words in order to make sense of what's on the page.
So, ma'am, I have some miles on me. I'm rather old. And I'm proud to say that. So what we used to do back in the day was Goo Goo Gaga. We realized that didn't work. We needed to do more than that, to talk to kids, to help them with their language skills.
Yes, I absolutely advocate that parents speak to little ones, even babies that aren't even cooing and babbling yet, with real words, because at some point they'll understand, and they gain that understanding through experience. So I tell parents, I give them the acronym TALK, and the T is for take turns, A is for ask questions, L is label and point, and K is keep the conversation going. So even with the itty bitties, talk about the black tablecloth or the round light, or give language and words to everything.
That's different, because before we didn't talk to our kids that way. We just told them or whatever, but this is engaging them, and that's a TALK acronym. That's nice. I like that. So the birth of the book, how long did it take you to write the book?
Ooh, it took me years to write the book, but it went through many different kind of forms. But I'd say a solid 2 years of working on the book in this format. I got serious about it during COVID.
And the name of the book, once again, is?
Reading for Our Lives.
Okay. Reading for Our Lives. When did you know the book was done?
when my editor at the publishing house pried it out of my hands and told me I couldn't make any more changes.
You felt like you always needed to make changes?
Yeah, that's just my personality. So I'd still be working on the book. I'd still find something I wanted to tweak or add or change.
Were you always a creative?
I think so. I was always interested in, and not always necessarily fiction or poems, but I was always interested in ideas and plans and proposals. So even this book, the subtitle is A Literacy Action Plan from Birth to Six, because I have that optimism that people can take this book, read it, really internalize it, do the things, and then inspire other people to do it and really take it to a new level. So that's my version of creativity.
How can people find the book out there?
They can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, all the major retailer websites. And then also my website, mayasmart.com. So that's MAYASMART.com.
What is the next thing on the horizon for you?
I'm going to continue spreading these ideas. So I do workshops for parents. Some parents will read 240 pages, get it, take it, run with it. Other parents will listen to the audiobook. Some will watch little snippets on social media. But I think that having the back and forth real-time engagement with families is really important. And then also training educators and librarians to have those same kind of conversations. What
is Mike King here, ESPN Richmond? That's where we are. We're at the Richmond Public Library. You are in town for this. This is a promo for your book. Can you talk about the library, like the magic of the library and books? I mean, because the library is a cool place to be, and we want to get kids in there. It's not the old school library where it used to be.
And I love the old school library.
I know,
so.
But there's a lot more things going on, and because we want parents to come in here. So talk about the magic of the library and books.
So the real magic of libraries, public libraries everywhere, is that there are these huge spaces filled with volumes of books and helpful, wonderful, nice librarians, and they're free and available to everyone. So when we talk about equity and social change and all these things that are so important to us, libraries are central to that because they welcome everyone in and help you get to your next best level or help connect you to things you're interested in. So I was upstairs, or maybe it was downstairs earlier, and there's a maker space. So they didn't have that in my neighborhood library as a kid. We were reading in libraries. Now you can read, you can make things, you can do all kinds of things with technology here as well.
And we're promoting the creativity in our kids, and that's something we need to do early on right there. So for a kid who's out there and a person who wants to make a dream happen, let's talk about how do you make dreams happen?
I think first of all, you have to dream. So you have to have imagination and cultivate your ideas and listen to and take seriously your own ideas and thoughts. And write things down so you don't forget. And then I always encourage people to write things down, not only because I'm a writer, but it makes it solid in some ways that it's not when it's just in your mind. And then share it with other people who can help you and support you on your journey to making things happen.
So you were always a journaler, a writer?
Always at least taking notes and little snippets of things, not in an organized, I can't go back and have like years worth of diaries or anything like that, but definitely constantly writing and note taking.
Do you read the things after you've written them?
So part of why I don't have a long collection of journals is when I go back and read things, sometimes I'll tear the pages out and throw them away.
I asked people that. So when my mom passed away, I wrote, I'm not a writer, but I wrote all this stuff down. And I don't know, I'm not going to say it's therapeutic, but when I wrote it and I put it away. Maybe 10 years later, I go back and read some of that. I'm like, ooh, Lord. Some of this was kind of like some stuff. And I closed it up and never went back. It never went back again. But I have people who say that they go back and read the things. Or some people say, yeah, it's therapeutic.
My husband is a serious journaler. So he has volumes that can go back to the 90s. So he can see what he was thinking this time last year.
From a business standpoint, that's good because it allows you to go back and see what happened on this day in history. Okay, so now we're talking about the creative side of writing a book and the book tour. Let's talk about the business side of it. When you were starting to put this together, you went and got an agent. Is that the process for a person who wants to write a book?
if you want to be traditionally published. So this book is published by Avery, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House, which is just a huge, giant book publisher. And that can help with your reach and distribution and publicity and media support. So for me, the first step was writing a proposal, getting that proposal in front of agents. An agent took me on as a client, and then she sold the book to a publisher.
Gotcha. All righty. Once again, we are at the Richmond Public Library. This is a big event. You are here talking about your book, and the name of the book, once again, is
Reading for Our Lives, a literacy action plan from birth to 6.
On the mic with Mike. So we'd like to think there are a lot of great things happening. If you're in the Richmond area, make sure you come to the Richmond Public Libraries. It is the place to come to. You have celebrated authors who are here. As I always say, please make sure you follow our sponsors, advertisers, because they help us stay on the air. We do not work for the radio stations. We are the best business-ish radio program. We're not really business. It's business-ish. It's about the things that hold life together and the community together, which is what you're doing. So congratulations to you, ma'am. And you have to go, as I say, the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now, take care. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On with Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. We are still at the Richmond Public Library, the main library. We have the man in the building, so we're here with this. So we just interviewed Miss Maya Smart, who was here. They have an excellent program that they're going on in the background. It sounds like a kid's play that's happening back there, so you hear the rattles and stuff. Sir, welcome to the program. Please tell everyone who you are and what you do.
I'm Scott Firestein. I'm director of Richmond Public Library. So I get to be I get to lead this effort for library services for the city of Richmond.
And so libraries have changed.
Yes.
Libraries, and COVID was something really that took us in a direction that none of it had ever done. Let's talk about your journey to get to library sciences. You were always a kid with the book? You always loved books?
I was always a library user. I've been a librarian for over 30 years. I started off, my first job was in a high school library.
And you never left?
And I pretty much never left, that's right.
What is the magic about, so when you walk into it doesn't matter where, you walk into a library before, I guess some years ago, like the internet's going to take over, digital is going to take over, we aren't going to need any books anymore. Books are still here,
yep.
And people still use books. Let's talk about the magic of the library.
Well, the magic of the library is that our job is to provide information for those across the spectrum of the people that we serve in the city of Richmond. So it doesn't matter where you're from or what you have. If you have an information need, we're the place to come and visit, and we will help you find an answer to a question you may have. It can be something as simple as, what should I make for dinner tonight? Or how can I get some leads for my business to market whatever? It could be something as simple as a science fair project. It could be you just need a book to read. So we have that information, and we provide it for all who live in the city of Richmond. So that hasn't changed much.
How many branches do you have?
In the city of Richmond, we have a main library and 8 branches.
Okay. So you were coming through COVID, before COVID, everything was going on. You understood the business of library, the library business side. COVID happens. It turned the world upside down. The library became a place then. Talk about what place the library played during COVID.
So in the early days of COVID, I think fear struck all of us. And so we had to figure out how to provide library service in a non-traditional way. So at Richmond Public Library, we shifted to curbside. We promoted many of the resources that we have through our library website at rvalibrary.org. That is, in a sense, I've said we have 9 physical branches. Our 10th branch is that library website. And it is a place where you can get an electronic library card right online. You can check out electronic books, magazines. You can even download video and music. So we are now in your pocket with your smartphone or your device, and we're also in your neighborhood. So the library has had to evolve into a place, more than a place, but a service that is everywhere for those who are seeking information.
As we had talked off camera, I talked to a man, Dr. May, was in from Chesterfield County. We talked about the power of the library card. Still powerful.
Yes, sir.
It is still powerful. So really, let's talk a little bit about the culture of an organization. I always talk to leaders about how do you set the winning culture in a place where you have people in multiple locations all working towards a common good.
One of the ways is communication. Bottom line is communication. You've got to be able to have a mission and a message and a vision statement and a strategic plan that is evolved from our users letting us know what they need, and also as the leader communicating it out so that we are achieving it day in and day out. So everyone needs to be informed on how we're going to proceed. I also, as a leader, need to listen to what I'm hearing from my frontline people. If they're telling me that something isn't working, I need to listen and make that change. Call that audible, as a quarterback does.
That's what good leaders do. I'll call it audible when things aren't working. You shift over really quickly. I know we're just about out of time here. How can people find information about the library?
The first thing to do is go to rvalibrary.org. You can Google it, or you can just do a quick search for RVA Library. That will be your gateway electronically, and we're everywhere through that URL.
As you know, this is a business show. We are just about out of time, but I got to ask you this question right here. Most businesses have a target market. Your demo is way different.
Yep.
So we're in here right now with 2-year-old and 1-year-olds on up to however old you could be coming in the library. And you guys have to have something for everybody.
That's right.
How do you make that work? You start.
It is a challenge. Basically, birth to 100 plus is our audience. And so being able to adapt and evolve to the needs of every audience. So I have to be the library that my grandma was used to, but I also have to be the library that our millennials and Gen Zs want to see, the ones who may never come in our door, but will access us through that website. They'll get those electronic resources. They'll get those downloadables. They'll get those electronic magazines, or they'll do a search on the databases that we have. So we have to be everywhere, and we try and be everything to as many people as we can. Now, it's a challenge.
I bet it is.
It's a challenge.
Because a lot of times people have to define demo. You're talking...
Everyone.
There you go. Birth to 99 or more.
Yep.
There we go. We are at the Richmond Public Library. We'd like to thank you for joining the program. Just Google them. It's the Richmond Public Library. Right. There's some really great things happening. Today we are here once again for the Maya Smart book signing, and there are children's events going on right now, but there is something here for everyone. On the mic with Mike. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks now. Take care.
Are we really doing this?
It's your call.
Call Federal Credit Union, your best call for mortgages.
Different for you. Bryant and Stratton College is a private, nonprofit college that's built differently to better serve the needs and lives of students looking to accelerate and advance their careers. For 170 years, we've been meeting students where they are and helping them get ahead. Our 45-plus degree offerings, flexible class options, and student support teams are structured to provide flexible pathways that aid in helping you achieve your education and career goals. Built different for you.
Okay, ma'am, is it still, I know you guys are always adding things, so is it still 45, or do we increase that number? Since we did
45 degrees?
Yes.
Yeah, because you also are sunsetting some degrees, right?
Okay.
Because again, we're always working with our community leaders, our employer partners, and saying, okay, what is relevant right now? So you've got some degrees that, you know, if you think about it, industries have changed, and so we retire those, but then we're adding new ones on.
So, all right, so Mike King, Beth Murphy here. This is the internal workings of Bryant and Stratton. I'll tell folks who you are first.
So I'm Beth Murphy with Bryant and Stratton College. We're a career college, not-for-profit, that's been around for over 170 years. And we are the Richmond Chesterfield campus is one of 16 campuses, and we also have an online division.
And you are the biggest, correct?
We are the biggest, yes.
Of course.
Of course.
But when people think of Bryant and Stratton, other locations have dorms.
Well, and so that's linked to other locations have athletic teams.
Gotcha.
And so, but at the Richmond Chesterfield campus, we made the decision about 10, 15 years ago that we were not going to put our toe into athletics, that we were going to be all into healthcare, and specifically the nursing. And you look at the nursing program and how it's grown. Bryant and Stratton College, Richmond Chesterfield is actually the second largest provider of LPNs to the state of Virginia. So we put our efforts behind that, and that's why we don't have athletics, and therefore we don't have dorms.
Okay, that makes sense. So now, because everywhere I go, there are Bryant and Stratton nurses. It's everywhere.
Well, and you know you're getting good care if they're a Bryant and Stratton College.
Yes, I know. Firsthand, I know. I've got that care. And also, they all sing the praises that you guys got them ready for the workplace.
We try. I mean, Mike, nursing, in all seriousness, is not an easy profession.
No,
it's not an easy degree to earn. But we, first of all, we owe it to our students, because our students can graduate with a nursing degree, and until they pass the NCLEX, that state board, they're not registered. They're not an RN or they're not an LPN. So we owe it to our students to have a rigorous program. We also, both our diploma and our associate degrees are ACEN accredited. That's a programmatic accreditation that, while it may not mean much to a prospective student, it means a heck of a lot to our future employer. And their expectations are that the curriculum reflects this high standard that ACEN puts out there for their accreditation.
And that's garnered because you're in rooms with those employers, turning them into partners of Bryant and Stratton.
And I've got to look them in the eye. And programmatic accreditation is very important in healthcare. I mean, our medical assisting, they have the KHAP accreditation, which is very rare in the state of Virginia for medical assistants. But it means that, again, that the curriculum is designed to help prepare the students to become certified medical assistants. And we owe it to our communities to offer the highest that we can.
Because you're putting folks back into the state of Virginia, you're really putting a lot of talent back into the Richmond market, into this market.
Yeah. A lot of times people forget that students of Richmond, Chesterfield, Bryant and Stratton College live and work in this area already and pretty much stay in this area after graduation. So we really are investing in our community directly.
One of the things that Bryant and Stratton, did you change the name? Now I notice it says more Richmond Chesterfield.
Well,
is that something new?
It better represents who we are. So we've been in Chesterfield. Even our Hull Street location was Chesterfield. And so as we made this move, we said, you know what, our name needs to reflect the entire community that we serve. So we serve the Richmond Chesterfield community, and we're very proud to have that as part of our name.
But also, and I didn't realize this, the Bryant and Stratton footprint goes far and wide.
Oh,
I thought it was right around here, but you're like, oh no.
No, we have, our students, Mike, they're just incredible. So we've got students who drive 2 hours. We bring them from the West. We bring them from North Carolina. Again, Bryant and Stratton College, I think there's twofold. Number one, our outcomes are exceptional. And so people want to enroll in a program that is good. And then secondly, the flexibility. Because we have the part-time, the evening, the weekend opportunities, you don't always find that everywhere else. And so students are willing to drive a little bit further to get the tailored, built different for you program that they need to be successful.
Because if you figure what I passed to come a couple of hours to get to, it says something about what Bryant and Stratton offers. And like you said, it's built differently for you. Everybody feels like it's just, I'm the only one.
Oh, of course. And I don't blame them. I mean, I've gone back to school and earned a degree when I was working and my son had just been born, and it can feel very lonely. And then you start talking to faculty and staff and other students, and to realize, okay, I'm not alone. That's a huge feeling.
So where can people find you, ma'am?
Well, we are now at 101 Gateway Center Parkway. I'm practicing
Yes.
saying that. Obviously, you can visit our website, bryantstratton.edu, and you can give us a call, 804-745-2444.
I would always say on Home Street, just get to the campus, come inside the doors, and you'll be taken care of. It's still the same thing now, it's just a different address.
That's right. Gateway is right around the corner. And of course, we still have events like the Lunch and Learn. We've got a Lunch and Learn coming up on June 17th. That is a great way to come visit the campus, get food,
Always
and,
good.
right, and talk to faculty and staff. But no, we always welcome visitors, regardless of our location.
So let's talk about the process. And a lot of times there's things, if I hadn't been to college in a while, or either I'd never been, or my experience wasn't that great, there's some areas of concern.
Right.
So you're like, okay, how am I gonna pay for this thing? Am I gonna be able to do it? I'm the only one. I've been out of school a long time. Bryant and Stratton kind of walks you through. And then when I get this piece of paper, what happens now? I got a piece of paper, it seems like I got some debt. I need employment.
You know, Mike, I'm glad you asked me this question, because a lot of times I take for granted what we do. The hardest part, I think, for a prospective student is to make the decision to call or stop by or visit the website and inquire about information. Because once you get there, I do think you begin to feel how we're truly a champion of students. You're not just going to come in and announce, I want to study hospitality. Okay, we're going to ask you what you're interested in, but you're going to sit down with an admissions advisor, and we're going to go through what is the right pathway, and depending on what your goals are, what degree, is it a diploma, is it an associate, is it a bachelor's degree, what program of study, is part-time or full-time the better option? We're really going to talk through those things. Then we're going to sit down with a financial aid advisor, and talk through, okay, this is what I want to do. How can I afford this? What funding's available to me? What scholarships, just lay it all out there, because college is an investment. After you feel good about that, you're going to work with an academic advisor who's going to set up a schedule for you that best suits your needs. And maybe you want to do a remote class. Maybe you want to do classes on campus. Maybe you need online. But again, we're going to personalize that. And then as you move through with us, you're working with career services as well as taking your classes. And so career services is connecting you with future employers. So by the time you complete, I am hoping that you feel like, wow, I've had somebody walk this path with me, and now I'm ready to go out and start my career.
And you become part of the family.
No, you're always part of the family. So once you graduate, you can always come back to career services. Let's say you need help reconnecting with an employer, or you want to get your resume updated, or you're not feeling like your LinkedIn profile is doing the best job representing you. All of those things, career services is ready to help.
So you moved from Whole Street, where you guys were for a long time, over to Gateway. That is a transition.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody settling into the new location?
There is so much excitement because we are all together. We're in this brand new space. The labs look great. Everything is shiny and new. There's some adjustments, like we're still figuring out the AC. The building was unoccupied for a little bit, so we're still getting used to some things. But by and large, everybody is just so happy.
The excitement is there.
Yeah. We just need to finish unpacking, Mike. I think we've gotten tired. We need to finish unpacking.
The excitement, excitement died down. You have those last suitcases.
That's right.
We're going to get to those.
We're going to get there.
Alrighty, ma'am, where are we in the semester?
So we're just a couple weeks in. But it's nice to see, even after just a couple weeks, how everybody is feeling more comfortable. And of course, our continuing students, like they had to readjust too.
Yes.
Right? Everybody's figuring out, okay, how do I park in the parking garage and getting in and finding the classes. So we're settling down. I would call this the settling period. We're also fixated on graduation because that's at the end of the month, right? So there's a lot of energy right now being focused on the May 29th graduation ceremony.
There you go. And the time and the location for graduation?
So May 29th is our big graduation of the year. Even though we do 3 a year, but the May graduation not only honors our April 26 graduates, but it also honors our online graduates. So anyone who graduated from our online division who lives in this area can come to the ceremony. So we'll have over 200 graduates. Oh yeah, it'll be huge. We'll be at the Richmond Convention Center. We have Jody Alexander, President and CEO of YMCA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the mic. It's Mike King here, ESPN Richmond. That's where you find us. This is part of the MIKEKINGBIZ Media Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, International Business Coach Radio, as well as the Hounds of Business community. What we do is we talk to the game changers out there. Hey, there's an organization out there, Mechanics of Faith, doing some amazing work. I've been hearing about them for a year. Well, you know, people are doing good work. A lot of times they run into some problems, and what we do as a community, we help those who help us. All right, welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey, my name's Jason Wells. I'm the founder of Mechanics of Faith. We are an affordable automotive repair service, helping people in the community that need help.
All righty, and so where are you located?
We are currently located behind New Life Church in Henrico County. But part of the reason why we're on your show today is to get the word out that we are looking for a new facility, a new permanent home for Mechanics of Faith, so we can continue to do our mission.
So you don't have a typical background. We just finished with that. No, sir. You do not. All right, let's talk about the birth of Mechanics of Faith and how does it engage the community?
So the birth of Mechanics of Faith was about 6 years ago. I'm just a car guy, man. I've got a cool little rat rod that I built, 2008 Scion XB, that I've modified to look like an old school rat rod, hot rod. And you know, me and my buddies just been having fun at car shows and things like that. I love wrenching on cars, and I just started telling people, you know, that, you know, they may come to me and say, hey, could you do the brakes on my car? Hey, do you mind helping me with this? And the answer was always, yeah. And when it got time to, how much do I owe you? It was kind of like, well, how much can you afford? Let's figure this out together. And so I ended up connecting with another mechanic friend of mine, and we were like, and he had another job just like I did. I had a corporate job, and we were like, let's turn this into a nonprofit. Let's really help the community. And that's what we did. And we started being, you know, mobile and kind of going around and helping people. And then we ended up with a 21-foot trailer. We ended up at Hanover Friends Church, and we were doing one Saturday a month, doing oil changes, brakes, you name it. We were basically doing it except for engine swaps. And that's how we met Pastor Lee at New Life Church. And he just showed up one day and came to me and said, Jason, I've got a tool shed and a paved parking lot, and I want Mechanics of Faith to operate out of our facility. And we went, looked at it, prayed over it, felt like God was calling us that direction. And the rest is history, man. We went over there, and we were doing like one Saturday a month. And then we were like, well, yeah, bring your car by on Tuesday. We'll work on your car. We'll go ahead and take care of that. And now we're Monday through Friday, 9 to 3.
So you are a regular shop minus the regular shop prices.
Yes. So I'm a regular shop in the sense of functionality, minus the shop, because we work outside. So like the other week when it snowed, my guys were getting snowed on. I've laid in about 2 inches of water, putting in an exhaust system for a client who needed to get her son to the doctors the next day. So I laid in water while it was pouring rain outside and fixed the exhaust system. So we're a shop minus the luxuries.
All right, Mike is here, Pastor Jason with Mechanics of Faith. How can people find out information about you?
MechanicsOfFaith.org has a ton of information. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You can email, call us. That's the best way. We got a YouTube channel that we're slowly growing as well, but all of that's on our website at mechanicsoffaith.org.
All right, Mike is here, Pastor's here with us as well. Okay, so I always say, before I said it before he came on, people listen to the program, understand, change the world ain't cheap, easy, or free. You guys help people out. Like, how do people engage with you? And now we're going to go to the next side of that is you guys need help after you're helping people. So first, how do people engage with you?
So engage, you talking about is our client base?
Yeah, okay, so I got something wrong. Do I have to qualify or how does that work?
Yep. So you go to our website and you hit and you click on repair information, and that kind of starts laying out that process for you. You actually have to submit an application. Our qualifiers are SNAP, so food stamps, or Medicaid, or a veteran. So that's our three qualifiers. If you receive or are any of those qualifiers, then you can receive services from Mechanics of Faith.
Okay. So now you guys when did you start running into problems thinking that you were going to have to move? Like what happened there?
Yeah, so we didn't know. I mean, forces, right? We had no idea. Me and the church were very well partnered together. Having a blast doing life, man, helping 15 people a week, and we were just growing too big, and so we just ended up with more cars on the lot than we could handle. I mean, we were having cars towed in, right? So it was just we were growing too big, and so the county showed up one day and just said, hey, just so you guys know, this is a residential property that the church is on. And all of us were like, no, we looked it up on the GIS system and it's commercial. Well, come to find out that, again, there's some subsets in there because it's a church. So, basically it's a zoning issue and we're going to have to find an actual facility. I mean, our end goal was to actually build a shop on the property and everything. And for me, a lot of people are like, oh, aren't you mad? And I'm like, not really. I'm like, because to me, this is God saying, Jason, you aren't supposed to build a shop here. You're supposed to be somewhere else. You're supposed to do more, so you're supposed to grow the kingdom, right? So that's where we're going.
All right. Which areas? Does it have to be Henrico, or you go where you can get basically some help?
Yeah, I mean, it really needs to be Richmond and the surrounding areas. That's our clientele base, right? So if I was to go to, I could go to King William County if I wanted to. I've been offered property in Tappahannock, but at the same time, I mean, that's a long drive for my kind of my clientele that I have.
All righty. So now the help that you need. Let's talk about what types of help could you use.
Yep. So as always, right? Love prayers, love the support. We really need the financial help. We need individuals who are willing to say, you know what, I believe in the mission. I'm willing to commit to a $50 a month donation. That really helps. The monthly donations of $50 or more keeps us running. Or if you're willing to write that $5,000 check to help us pay for a couple months of rent, or we're going to need lifts when we get into the new facility because right now we don't have lifts. So there's a lot of things that we need so we can do more because we do want to grow. We don't want to stay still. We want to grow. We want to help more people. We want to help over 600 people in 2024.
All righty, Pastor's with us. All righty, sir. One of my good Mike, we appreciate you coming on. When we're finished, we're going to connect. We're going to have you. I know your schedule is tough. Let's talk about, you had a dream, and we talk to people about dreams all the time. You were good, but what you're doing is you're transferring knowledge and passion and faith and all that onto the next generation. How do we find the next generation of people who would say, I got to step out here on faith and help folks? Like everyone needs their car fixed, no matter whether you have the money or whether you don't. The trick comes into if you don't, what happens? And all the things that happen if you don't have a car that's in good working condition. How do we find the next generation of people who will say, let's go ahead and do this?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
You know, I got one per show, and I save it for the pastor because you guys got the answers. Come on, man.
How do we find the next generation?
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I think we have to keep doing what we do, right? I mean, that, like for us, so I'll give you an example. I have a gentleman who volunteers at Mechanics of Faith. Great kid. And he has had a rough life. And, you know, he's reached out to me in the past and we've had conversations. He's been incarcerated, you know, and he was like, man, he was like, you know what? He was like, you know, I cuss and I got a filthy mouth. He was like, but you know what, Pastor Jay? He's like, you don't even really blink an eye when you and I are carrying on a conversation and I'm cussing like a sailor. And, you know, and he's just kind of like, he's like, I got to start coming to your church. I want to start volunteering more. And he's, you know, he's seeing the goodness through our works, right? I mean, I got it on my hoodie, right? I got works on this sleeve and I got faith on this sleeve, right? Because for me, we've got to do the work. And that's what Mechanics of Faith is doing. I've got recovery guys that I've hired, you know, that have mechanic skills, but just couldn't get a job somewhere else because people looked at them and were like, oh, you're in recovery. I can't trust you. Right. And we don't do that at Mechanics of Faith. I don't do that at my church Redemption House. And I think that's how we create the next generation, because we need to love everybody and we need to give opportunities to people, because the next generation may be somebody with a broken past.
There you go. All right. So, Pastor, we talked about the church shout out. You just dropped it in there rather smoothly a second ago. Let's talk about Redemption House.
Yeah, so I am the lead pastor of Redemption House of Prayer. We currently are inside of New Life as well, at 2:00 in the afternoon right now. And I mean, we're just trying to do life with people because Mechanics of...
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage is MIKEKINGBIZ, the voice of RVA business media. At MIKEKINGBIZ, we celebrate the idea that business makes society better.
Let's talk about the evolution of the Parney Pants. So I got one good question per show, and this is it.
This is it.
Okay, so
maxed out at one.
I got it. At this age, I'm good to get the one.
Yeah.
So what was the idea for the Parney Pants, and when did they make its debut?
So actually, we're having a Parney Pants bobblehead giveaway later on this summer. So we were just recounting that because I guess Caroline Phipps, our promotional director, put it on the giveaway box that's being manufactured right now. But we think it was back 2011, 2012. I was walking through the office and it was the middle of the summer and people were kind of burned out, right? People were kind of stagnant. Sure. People were kind of sad. And I was like, what can I do to get these people, you know, something different, right? And so John Daly has this company.
I know John.
Called Loudmouth Golf. And I ordered some pants, and Ironically now, JD and I have become very good friends. There's pictures of us here together on the walls of Parney's Pub. And I wore them at a game and people loved them. Fans loved them, our staff loved them, the players loved them, everybody loved them. The next night, I wore regular pants and a fan came up to me and said,
What happened?
I was here last night. Why aren't you trying as hard tonight as you were last night?
Fighting words.
And I went,
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
And I went, okay, this might be something. So then it went to getting more pants and wearing them just for games. Then that went to putting them on in the morning on game days. And then that went to wearing them if we have a game, if we don't have a game. And that went to anytime I leave the house, basically, I have to have these pants on, because if somebody sees me without the pants, they're disappointed. And it's fun. It's uplifting. People enjoy it. I don't care, because if people think I'm weird, if people think I'm silly, because other people get enjoyment out of it. And that's the key.
Yes.
I don't care what people think about me. I care the fact that they think it's fun and it livens up the room. It just makes everything better. So I wear them all the time. But a problem comes if I have to go, which happened recently, I have to go to a funeral or something. They're probably not appropriate at a funeral, right?
But that's how you're known.
So I went to Detroit for my friend's father's funeral, and I told him, like, hey, I got to stop at a store in Detroit because I don't have any regular
I got to get
pants.
so.
And he goes, well, I'll tell you where to go. But when you come to the funeral home, I want you to wear the Parney Pants.
Nice.
Because that'll really,
Yes.
that'll make people smile. We need to smile right now. So I think that's a good story about how they've transcended all kinds of things. And it's definitely part of not only the Squirrels brand, but my own personal brand. And it's one of the things that, you know now when you come to the Diamond, you're going to see some goofy looking pants.
One of the things about you guys, as you say, you're not in the baseball business. You're in it.
We're in the memory.
Welcome to Insure for Life. I'm Stacey Gregory. This show is for people building families, building wealth, and building a future they refuse to leave unprotected. We're talking life insurance, legacy strategy, and smart planning that gives you control, confidence, and clarity. Secure your legacy. If you love it, secure it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the mic of Mike King, coming to you from the MIKEKINGBIZ Call Federal Media Center. Hi, Beth and Reichel. Got the good friend, Stacey Gregory, is back in the building. You guys know her. She's the person who says, get your money right. Get your money right. So when somebody passes away, we are not having a cookout for money, a GoFundMe, all those things. There is no need to do that. She's also an AI consultant, and Stacey Gregory has been telling me about her mentor, this lady. Well, when people tell you about somebody, you don't know. Well, the lady sitting next to her, Soul Sis Gray, is here. Now I know what the talk is about. Stacey Gregory, tell us who you are, what you do, and then introduce your guest.
Hi, I'm Stacey Gregory, a licensed life and health insurance agent for the last 17 years. I've helped over 1,000 families secure their future with financial planning, retirement planning, wills, trusts, and readies, all the things. And I'm also a certified AI consultant. And today I have my friend and mentor, Soul Sis Gray, who is the founder of Future Cyber AI, a multi-talented entrepreneur who helps people use AI to build businesses and create multiple income streams. After leaving a 30-year trucking career to care for her mother through dementia and heart attacks for 5 years, she later became a full-time caregiver for her son during his cancer battle. Today, she turns pain into purpose by helping others monetize their talents and build legacy. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. You have done so much in such a short time to impact my life, and I'm so thankful for you. Can you share what you've done and for me as an insurance agent and what you're doing in your business as well?
Let's see. Telling your story is one thing. You telling your story is another. When I first met you, you didn't understand nothing I was saying. No. It just went over your head. Like, it was almost like I was talking French, or I was Charlie Brown in the corner going, wah, 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 wah. But later on down the line, I think you called me for something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you had called me for something. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, just get back with me. And then you called me back and you was like, what is this AI? I done joined this. I was like, girl, what is you doing? What is you talking about? And then it all started from there. From that time, you went in on one end, not knowing about how to even go into the situation you was going in. You came to me. When you came to me, I gave you the blueprint.
Yes.
When I gave you the blueprint, I said, Stacey, I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna reach one, teach one. I'm gonna bless you with this because nobody's paying attention. I said in the next 6 to 12 months. And that was what?
Less than 60 days ago.
Yep. I see you're gonna see a big change in how things gonna change in marketing, changing this whole world of how you go about everything, right? Mm-hmm. So then we started the classes.
Yeah.
And you was there faithfully. You picked up on every tool. You picked up on everything that was going on. But you also expanded yourself with somebody else. Mm-hmm. But that was after the fact that I taught you a language.
Yes.
Because if you didn't have that language, then you would have been like the rest of them saying, I need to come back to you. No, I need to be here with you. I don't understand what I'm doing. And then you took off. And then you called me again. I was like, I done did this. I got that. I got this certificate. I said, okay. She said, but I still need to come back to you. I was like, wait a minute. Why? So explain why, because I never understood why you said that to me.
What you helped me to do was I'm a life insurance agent, a health insurance agent, mm-hmm. and you said to me, I don't have to learn anything different. I can just move in this space, and I can maximize and monetize that information for AI, and that's exactly what I've done. I haven't changed my career path. I've just included AI into the mix, and it has changed everything for me. My business is expanding so fast that it's low key, it's overwhelming, but I'm ready for it because I know I have you here to help me along the way, but I have grown so much, and I just want other people I want you to share. I want to share you to the audience so other people can see that there's somebody out here. She's local in this area, and she is everything. If you want to expand your business, if you're looking to grow in the AI space, if you want to stand out above the crowd, so Sis Gray is the person that we all need to know, because she has so much, you have so much knowledge, and you're willing to share it so freely. And it's just, I just want you to so if you were meeting with someone, the lady that was here earlier, she's a teacher and a consultant. Mm-hmm. What would you suggest that she do with her business?
So you know how when you came, I told you the one biggest thing is that I listen to people's story.
Yes.
That is so important, because nobody listened to my story when I was talking about this and learning the difference between business hurt, personal hurt, and your future hurt. Mm-hmm. Knowing that all that is just a blueprint. All that is, we all have a story. We all have something that is of purpose. So instead of telling somebody they need this tool, I provide you with the tool of your story. Like, where do you want it to go? What is the hiccup? What is the bottleneck? What is the things that stop you from expanding to make more? Because we all got a dream.
Yeah.
But this is the time now where AI give us that chance to make our dreams come true. And I used to always tell people, I'm not just a dreamer. I'm a dream maker. I'm somebody who help you make your dream come true. Because I know when I wanted my dreams to come true, my grandmother made that possible. She didn't let me look at the label that everybody put on me. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear that story, then that's how I know. I know where you want to go, because everybody's mind has not opened up.
Yes, and can you talk about that? What it means for your mind to open up? Because I feel like I feel so smart and so like, what do you call it?
You were smart.
No, but what do you call it? Like my
the third eye,
the third eye.
Your brain. There's a part of the lobe of your brain that a lot of us have not opened up yet. We haven't had a chance to even, because people knock you down. They'll say you can't do this. So when I started this in 2015, 10 people in the class, only one graduated. So I knew that I had to reach one, teach one, in order to get people to know. And like my mother-in-law said, people don't believe a cow go move until they hear a cow go move. So I had to lead by example first, and that was showing my story, coming out of my shell, allowing people to see what I did know.
I think your secret weapon is being able to listen and see people and pinpoint exactly, would you call it a niche?
Right.
What path they need to go on in this AI world to maximize who they are as individual people. Because everything I see online on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, is all, everybody looks the same, talks the same. But as you can see, she's different. You're different. And that's what I have shown up, for me personally, I have shown up differently on social media. I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm showing up as Stacey Gregory, because you have shown me what I can be.
You can be you.
Yes, be who I am and expand on who I am using AI, not just in my personal life, but also in my business. And when I tell you, it's amazing.
When you say it gave you back time with your family, and that's the most important thing. I think the biggest legacy is time.
Yes.
The time that you have with your family, that you can implant other things into other family members or other friends. Me and our family may have like a Zoom, right? And I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna drop a gem on y'all. Just what's going on. But I didn't get the support like that. I get the support more from people who come in to see me, and get to know who I am, and know that how AI changed me, where it took me, because I could have been lost. I could have been out of here. Pandemic, son stage 2 cancer, mama having 10 heart attacks, and the other son three times COVID, grandson, everything. I could have been lost. But the Lord gave me something to say. I'm going to show you how to make your dream come true.
And the cool part about AI is that ordinary people can do extraordinary things.
Yes, they can.
Like if you thinking, like you have this idea in the back of your mind, you don't know what to do with it, call Solstice Grace. She'll help you bring it to life. And you can just be a ordinary person living an ordinary life, do extraordinary things.
It don't matter if you're handicapped. I tell everybody, my son has cerebral palsy and recovering from stage 2 cancer. He was stuck in his room. And he was like, Mom, what I'm gonna do? I was like, look, let's play around. Look, I'm gonna send you this tool. No, let me not just send it to you. And then I showed him how to use it.
What tool was that?
ChatGPT.
Okay.
As an emotional chalkboard, they had on there Robin. A lot of people go through a lot of stuff and they'll use you as a chalkboard, right? They use you as a punching board. They want to lean on you. But during the time of the pandemic, nobody had nobody to lean on. My son couldn't have nobody in the room with him. So how am I still going to be able to help him? When there's time that I'm mom too, but I'm the nurse, right? So I gave him Robin on ChatGPT.
So we're talking about having an in-person event where we can learn and grow with AI, and we're going to announce that in the very near future. But I think it's coming very soon. We're going to team up. We're going to get some people in the room, some ordinary people, so we can help them do extraordinary things using AI.
Show them how to expand themselves. It's just not about expanding with AI. It's expanding yourself.
Yes.
Learning that you have these capabilities and you don't have to hold yourself back. And if you get a no, it's okay. Because that's a lemon. And a lemon, They say make lemonade, but my grandmama taught me that a lemon is just not to make lemonade. It is a citric fruit, and you can cook with it, you can heal with it, you can do everything with it. So guess what? The same way you can do that with a lemon, just add an A and put AI and watch what else you can do with that lemon.
So how can people get in contact with you?
I'm on every social media board, Soul Sis Gray. You will see me on every platform out there from TikTok. Now, if you go on Facebook, it's Shannon Darby, but I basically go through WhatsApp and I go through a lot of my other programs. And if you want to contact me by email, that's digital3@futurecyber.com. And that's future with an F. That's PHUTURE.
Thank you so much for being here. Y'all be on the lookout because we're
stay tuned.
Yes, we coming back. We have so much to share.
Mike King is a businessman. He's a businessman with his own talk show. On the mic with Mike, with the best business radio program in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic. Mike King here. This is the premier business radio program in the area. I am your host. This is part of the MIKEKINGBIZ Media Network, ESPN Richmond, every day, 5 to 7 a.m., as well as International Business Growth Radio, Saturdays, 10 a.m. East, as well as CW Richmond every Wednesday and Friday. We talk to the best and the brightest. Hey, so I keep my finger on the pulse of what's cool that's happening. Women in tech is something that's out there. Good friend here, Lori Jennings, is here. Welcome back to the program, ma'am.
Thanks, Mike.
All righty, so we go way back. You mean before I was MIKEKINGBIZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the Inno days, Richmond Inno. And I always wondered, and like talking about women in tech and all those things, I had this crazy idea. Let's talk about women in tech. Lori Jennings is here. So tell folks who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Lori Jennings. I am the founder of Jennings Pro Search, which is an executive IT recruiting firm.
All righty. And how can people find you out there?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Lori Jennings, Lori, Jennings with a J, or my website, JenningsProSearch.com.
All righty. And so I had this crazy idea. Let's highlight women in tech.
Yeah.
And just recently, there was an event through Richmond RVA Tech, correct?
Yeah.
And there were some winners. So the event was outstanding. More than a couple hundred people were there, correct?
That's right. Over 200 people were there.
Celebrating women in technology. And out of all those folks who were there were a bunch of nominations. We had some winners. And the winners are here with us today. So we're going to start with, now this is a friend of the family right here. I call her Cybersecurity Lexi, who is here. So ma'am, tell us who you are really quickly and what you do.
I am Lexi Burrows, or Cybersecure Lexi, as I'm perhaps better known as. I am the technical marketing analyst at Synergy Technical, which is a cloud consulting firm in Richmond, Virginia.
All righty. And also, so you were
the rising star.
So, Lori, the idea behind this, we were going to highlight two folks in the industry, one who's an established star,
Patty,
and who is a rising star. Patty, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And tell folks who you are and what you do.
So I'm Patty Titus. I'm the Chief Privacy Officer as well as the Chief Information Security Officer at Markel Corporation.
Alrighty, so Lori, so this is going to be the Lori Jennings show, or as I call her, she's cool enough to just be LJ. There's a couple different LJs out there, but it's Lori Jennings. The idea of you having a show, what are we going to highlight when we get together every week?
Well, we're going to highlight different women in technology across all levels, as well as all spectrums, because IT is broad and it keeps growing. So anything from cybersecurity to data privacy, software engineering, project management, product management. We want to just highlight people and show women represented in what they're doing, and maybe talk about some of the challenges and how we can support each other and get more women in the technology field and celebrate.
Mike King here. I got the ladies with me. I can get off course a little bit. I have been instructed. There are questions. There were guidelines that they were put on me and asked multiple times. Mike, did you read the questions? And what did I say?
No.
Because I had the question. One of the reasons when people come in, I'm always amazed and intrigued by what you do. And then I start thinking about how it affects me, how I look at things. So Lori, we're going to go to you. What are we talking about today? And now Patty and Lexi have questions that they wanted to put out there, because we're going to talk about women who are into their career, who are established, who are, you're out there. You have seen a ton of things. You're an established star. Lexi, you're a rising star. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So do you want me to start off? I mean, that's the whole idea, to get us in the room and get someone established to talking to someone rising so they can mentor and help each other, ask questions. But let's start off with the awards last week, because it's the RVA Tech Margaret Lynn McDermott Awards, named after Lynn McDermott, who was a trailblazer in the technology field and a mentor to many of us, you know, as we came along. It was important to see her out there, and it helped a lot of us get in the industry. So that's what the awards were about, and they've grown over the years. Again, I think it started in 2015 or so, and every year we've had more and more people nominated. This year was outstanding. We had the most nominees, and we also had the most people in attendance, over 200 at the VMFA last week. It was exceptional. So that's what the awards are about. We have about 6 or 7 categories, which also includes a male ally. And we're going to be talking about male allyship in one of these shows, not today necessarily. But both Lexi and Patty won 2 of the awards, won the Rising Star and won the Lifetime Achievement Award. So I want to start by talking to each one of them and what that award means to them. And the Rising Star is somebody in the technology field that's in the first 5 years of their career. So why don't, Lexi, you start talking about what the award means to you to win this, because you had the largest number of nominations. I mean, it was a lot of people nominated, and she was the winner.
There you go. Floor's yours, Lexi.
It means everything to me, and I'm still riding that high. I'm incredibly grateful. I think a lot of people, not just in tech, but in every industry, especially women, deal with really intense imposter syndrome. And when I was nominated for the award, and my coworker who so graciously nominated me, you know, it was kind of, there's no way I'll win. I'm grateful to be nominated, but I'm so young, and I can't have made an impact. And when I was up there and I saw Lori up there and I was accepting my award, it was just such a testament to the wonderful network of the RVA Tech women that are here, both you guys and everyone that was in attendance at the award ceremony.
Mom and Dad was there.
Yes,
they were looking at them. They were smiling. Like,
yes.
Look at our baby. She's done well. All right. So when you wanted to go into tech, were there other groups of girls who went with you, or did you have to sort of search out to find women out there who were going in that direction?
So I am grateful because I come from a family of
Your
technical professionals. Yes, my mother included.
That's true.
I have a really great network, but when it came to college, I started as a business major because I was so sick of IT. And then I transitioned to computer science. And with that, there were not a lot of women in my program. So I became the president of the Society of Women Engineers, which shows you just how small the tech industry was if I was the president of engineering and I wasn't even an engineer. And with that,
okay, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is it.
Yeah, so they couldn't even bring in an engineering major to be the president of an engineering club. But with that, I created a fantastic network of really amazing technical women. But yeah, when I started, there were not very many, and I'm grateful to have that network of professionals that are further along in their career. But my generation, it was a struggle to find them.
How did you go over to the cyber world? What was it that was there that really did it for you?
So it started with going to Christopher Newport University. I have like an hour and a half drive to and from. And so I got into the podcasting world, as I think we all did. And there were a few podcasts that really stood out to me, like Darknet Diaries and Reply All. And when I found myself looking forward to listening to those, I was like, oh, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's a passion here. And so I continued to do more research. I became an officer for our cybersecurity club back at my college. And I dove deep, learned some commands, and, really embraced the whole hacker lifestyle, went to hackathons. And since then, it's just kind of been love at first podcast listen.
Dude, does the laissez-faire attitude of people about security bother you?
I think I understand where it's coming from.
We're nonchalant. We're just saying.
There are so many things you're supposed to be implementing. You should have a different password for every account and two-factor authentication or text and an authentication app on your phone. And there are so many different rules and regulations that you're supposed to follow. I get it. I think the industry and guidelines maybe need some love and PR perhaps to make them a bit more appealing. It doesn't bother me necessarily, but I do wish that people took their security a little bit more seriously, because it can follow you.
Patty, just a little bit.
A lot bit for you.
Really, it's just a little bit. Or people need to be serious about it.
Corporate side, a lot of it.
Yes, but people, as a whole, need to be more secure with how we do business across the board, and we are not as a people. I get it. I've been accused of that as well.
But I do think, Mike, I think the security vendors need to make the technology frictionless. So it needs to be there and running, and there's less that a consumer has to do. If we can make it easier, not simple.
Yeah, because I lost my cell phone recently and I couldn't even get into anything on my computer because it's, the double authentication and it's authenticating to my cell phone.
Yes,
so I'm locked out of everything. So that was really challenging.
So, Patty, when you look back to what Lexi's talking about now, the world was a lot different in those days. She's out there by herself, and it is these days. And we're wondering, what was it like back then?
Yeah, I recently was speaking to a CISO that I did business with, and we worked together. And I said, remember when it was so simple and it was just a firewall and a host intrusion detection system, and that was like it. That all you worried about was protecting the perimeter. And it was, Mike, I go way back to before digital radios. That's how old I am. I copied Morse code for the Air Force. So, I'm like really old.
We're hip old. We're around. People still start coming back around again because people do know Morse code. Military people do.
Well, they got away from it, but I still feel like that's a communication mechanism that, a lot of things can happen and that will still work. So, but I have seen it all. I have to admit, and I'm kind of sad that I'm not where Lexi is, because she is going to see so much. We are just at an inflection point of the convergence of so many different technologies. It's an amazing time. And I wish I had another 20 years of my career left.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
I know, but it'll be doing
it's different.
Different things. Yeah. It won't be like, going to a hackathon.
So, Patty, let's go back. There was a time we didn't always walk around with phones in our pockets. It's kind of revolutionary. You're saying right now, what we're going to experience in the next 20 years is going to blow away these past 20 years or 30 years.
Definitely. Probably you'll see the innovation that took us. Look how long it took to get a radio in a car.
Yeah.
20 some years.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, we're like, by the time, cars are going to be flying.
They are. Yeah. They are actually in prototype and they are flying. They are. Read the book. The future is faster than you think. It's a great book. Not to plug the authors, but it's a great read. And how many of us remember Dick Tracy? And
I remember. And we thought how ridiculous that was.
That's never going to happen. And now we're all in the middle of a meeting. She says, I'm sorry, I don't know about that. She just inserts herself.
My grandkids don't think if it's not in Google, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it has to be. It's on the internet. Because we didn't always have every question known to man. There's an answer there somewhere. So before, you didn't know women engineers who lived right where you did. Now the world got like this. The world got smaller. And all of a sudden you're able to share your ideas and also find people who are similar to you guys, as opposed to when you were the only one and no one was like you in your town, or you had to go to college and then you had to try and find. Now there's a room full of more than 200 people who are out celebrating women in tech. All right, Lori, what am I supposed to do next, Lori?
Why don't you let us ask a few questions?
There you go. The floor is yours, ladies and gentlemen. Lori Jennings, Patty is here with us, as well as Lexi.
Yeah, so I guess let me start, because I think there are a lot of women listening to us right now, and some might want to get into the industry, but they don't know how. So what advice do you have for any woman that thinks, maybe I want to do this? And there's so many different areas. You don't have to be a hands-on engineer. You can be a salesperson like myself, or a recruiter. I'm in the technology field. What advice do you have, and what are some of the barriers you faced?
The biggest one, hands down, for advice is computer science and IT and the technology industry is not just programming. Full transparency, full disclosure, make fun of me in the comments all you want. I failed my Python class twice before I finally passed it. And I'm still here. I'm still living life and loving IT. So that was my biggest barriers. A lot of people think that technology, computer science is just being a software engineer at some big tech company and you're programming all day. That is just not true. Like Lori said, you can be a technology salesperson or a technology consultant and really love the technology and the ideas, but not be as hands-on as you need to be, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But the biggest barrier I found is proving your knowledge base once you're out of college, or you don't even have to go to college nowadays, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit later. And so my question for you is, how do you show employers, recruiters, anyone that you have that passion for cybersecurity, even if you don't have that experience quite yet?
So I think watching how animated you are about it is part of it. Really, it's a lot of cultural fit. So so yes, I've been doing this for 25 plus years. And when I think about what do I look for in a resume? Well, I'm going to be honest, because I'm a lifetime Girl Scout. So I look for Boy Scout, Girl Scout, right? I look, and people don't want to put that on their resume. They think, oh my gosh, I don't want to put that there. What I'm also looking for is really more of the cultural fit in with the team. So there's a team dynamic. We're always looking for diversity and inclusion. We're very focused more on the inclusion because we've got a lot of diverse folks on the team. But I'm looking more for neural diversity. So I want to have a group of people that come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, because when you deploy technology, there are cultural impacts. We don't think about that. So I spent a lot of years living overseas. And when you live in other countries, you see that your brain that is so geared toward living in Richmond, Virginia, now expands to say, wow, there's a whole world out there of different cultures. And so that we could probably do a whole show just
We
on
that one.
We could, Mike. But I'm really looking for somebody who's really got tenacity, someone who really wants to finish something, start it and finish it. So projects, or somebody who's just hungry to learn. So we also hire people out of the insurance operation. So we just hired a young gentleman from claims. He really was looking for something different. He came over and shadowed a few of our folks, similar to what we do with interns. They come in, they shadow, see if they like it. And of course they always do, but they quickly learned that it is not like CSI on TV. It is not quite that sexy. It's a little bit more, you got to have some patience, because when you're running a forensics investigation, it is not all kinds of things and, see-through whiteboards. That's not happening in the
It's
real
not
world.
sexy like that.
No.
But it could be.
But it's fun. It's fun to think about all the different ways you can hack a system, because if you think it, somebody's probably already doing it, maybe to you. So
One of Mike King, Lori Jennings is here, Patty, as well as Lexi. We're talking women in tech. These are award winners from RVA Tech a couple weeks or so ago. Congratulations once again, ladies. Lori, when we look at the idea of women in tech, it's different now than it was. You guys, it seems to me, well, you guys are celebrating women who you knew were trailblazers. Now people look at you guys that way. Let's talk about that right there. So, Lexi, when you see these ladies right here, what does it say, like, to you? Because there are kids who are looking up to you. When you walk in a room, people are looking at you going, you really do that for a living? Or when Ro is out there talking, shout out to Ro Mead, who is out there from Synergy Technical. When people look at Ro is saying to, hey, you need to talk to Lexi over there. And when little kids are looking, or boys or whoever looking at you as the expert, let's talk about what that means when you look at these ladies.
I can't say enough great things about this group of women, and like Row and the network I'm so grateful to have and to have known for a good chunk of my life. And it is so amazing to see what they've been able to accomplish. If I could be just a quarter as successful as they are, it would be dream come true by a mile. And I think I take this network for granted sometimes. I look at these women that, I mean, people would kill to have the opportunity to just speak with these wonderful ladies. And I feel that a lot. And I was recently at an RVA Tech panel for chief data officers. And one of them said, I don't know why I'm so intimidating. I have such a nice personality, but everyone's scared to talk to me because of my title. And I think it's the same thing here, where these women are so fantastic. They're so approachable. It's amazing to see what they've been able to accomplish and know that there's hope for me in the industry. But maybe people are scared to talk to them because they are so successful and wonderful and just amazing overall.
Well, ladies,
Well, that's not, and stop underestimating yourself. What you're doing is pretty amazing.
It is, it's amazing because before we didn't think of women in tech. Now they're talking about most of the people who graduated from college are women. And, a lot of them in tech are women. So we fast forward 15, 20 years. What do you think the industry is going to look like 15 years from now?
I think there's going to be robots running. I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
Drones and robots. Yeah.
I think we're going to see more progress. I mean, we were making so much progress and then COVID happened, and 80% of the people who left the workplace were actually women. So we've got a lot of catching up to do. And I think RVA Tech, the women in technology are helping. We're having the conversations, right? And that's really the start of it. It has been fantastic to see all of these new things sprouting up, podcasts with Mike King. I mean, when would have that been possible?
Shocking.
It is. And so we're talking about it. And I think isn't that like the first step of realization that you have a problem?
To talk about it.
It.
One of the great things on the Mike, I'm here with the ladies. One of the things, a great part about having your own show is I can ask the hard questions.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
He didn't let us.
It's our point to Lori. Women bring something different to the tech space. Vida Williams talked about it the other day. What's it like when you're in a room and before you may have had to, people want to check the credentials. People want to know the street cred that you have, and you gotta let people know. What do women bring to the tech space that men don't? Now you were not going to sit here and say, oh, women bring something different. What do you think it is?
Well, I think there's a stereotype, and I actually had a friend during an interview who, when she was doing a cybersecurity interview, and the hiring manager said, we would love to have you because we need some more soft skills on the team. And that's just kind of
okay, there we go.
Not to get the job. So I think while there is some truth to that women can bring that emotion, but so can men. That's not an exclusively women in tech, women in cyber trait. You get a lot of that assumption. So when you're hired, maybe it is to be more on the project manager side or more on the pretty side of things, even if you have that technical expertise. But also those, especially being a parent or just having children around you, and you have that like maternal instinct, and you really can go into power mode and get things done and say, okay, we need to do this, this, and this, and not get so overwhelmed in the face of a crisis. Because if you are having a cyber attack or even just, a system is down, you need to be able to think clearly and make sure you're following all the protocol to get yourself up and running, and make sure you're not breaking any rules or any data protection information. So yes, that's really important. And I think that women do a fantastic job of that.
All right, Patty, that same question. When you've walked into many rooms, bunch of men sitting around that big table. You're looking, okay, who's the lady over there? And suddenly, when people are checking your credentials, you know. What's it feel like when you had to put somebody in their place and people knew what time it was? Did it feel good?
Put somebody in their place. Well, I would say that it has been rewarding, that I haven't had too many situations where I've walked into the room and been completely snubbed because I was a female. There have been times, and in those times, rather than focus on the negative, I focus on what could I have done different? Could I have communicated differently? Or do I just need to maybe pull a person aside and say, hey, we have to work together. So I might be a different gender, but we both have the same optimal goal, right? And if you make sure when you walk in the room, what's the objective of the meeting? So if it's a room full of men, you're the only woman, what's the objective of the meeting? And it's not really about gender, it's about solving a problem, sometimes solving a problem for the entire company. And that's critical to me. And there have been crises. I was activated critical staff during 9/11 for the Treasury Department. And I will tell you that the bulk of the people who remained behind were women on the crisis team. So sometimes you think you got a good plan of all the people who say, I want to be on the crisis management team. But when the rubber hits the road, who's left in Washington, D.C. protecting the president?
That's terrifying.
I know.
Well, really, thank you, Patty, for that
And
sobering thought.
Yeah, I want to bring up something because we didn't really get to talk about Patty and her background. And I think it's such an interesting point because Patty weaved her career. She didn't start out in cybersecurity, right? You started out in a very different role that was even more male dominated probably and much scarier. So let's talk about, yes, that's what I mean. So let's talk about, I want you to tell everybody your journey so that people can see that, hey, there's a lot of people out there that might be teachers, they might be cops, there's anything that want to maybe transition. Talk about the weaving, how you started your career and how you moved through it.
So I was the youngest of 5, and little did I know I had been doing risk management since I was born.
That's called big family negotiations.
Yep. And so you do risk management. And I when I turned 19, I said, I have got to blow this place because I lived in Minnesota and it was cold and I wanted to see the world and I really wanted to travel. So why not do it on somebody else's dime? So I joined the Air Force.
We've had that conversation.
So I joined the Air Force.
You live good.
And away
an Army guy, yes.
Yes, we had good chow halls.
Good.
And so I spent the first 3 years of my career in Japan. I got to travel. It was awesome. Then I moved on. And so I have worked for several different federal agencies and lived overseas and got to see wonderful parts of the world. And some not as wonderful, but still so much goodness out there. And then I came back to the States and I really did not know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I'm coming out of diplomatic service. What do? I don't know. So I kind of goofed around with technology, got to learn a little bit of Unix programming, kind of because somebody dropped a Unix for Dummies book on my desk. And I went back into the government to the Treasury Department. And then TSA happened. And so I transitioned into TSA and I just was complaining all the time. Somebody needs to do security. Who's doing security? And in the government, when you complain, you get to do it.
Yeah, that's the way Uncle works.
Being the youngest of 5, you'd have thought I would have learned that lesson and keep my mouth shut, but I didn't. And so I finally wore the CIO down. I said, I can be that person. And he said, I'm going to take a chance on you. Let's see how you can do. And I think that's the biggest limiting factor that people have, regardless of where you are in your career, is you don't ask. If you don't, people don't just know through osmosis, you want to take that job. Tell somebody you want to take that job. And I think women are worse.
Yeah.
So
that's
absolutely sure. The worst. We just think if we sit there and do a really good job, somebody's going to go, yeah, you're doing a good job. Let's give you this other thing. No,
they don't know that.
You got to ask for it. So, that to me is like a big deal. And I read somewhere that men will look at a job description and they'll go, oh yeah, I can do that one thing. And they'll apply for the job. Women will look at it.
We don't get it.
And women will go through the whole list and go, oh, there's that one thing at the end. I can't do that really well. And they won't even apply. So I got to tell you, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your degree is in. Take a chance. Ask for it. Because if you don't ask, people aren't going to know.
Really quickly, so in an organization, how do you set the culture so that women will ask? Because like you said, if it says I need 10 of those things at 3, oh man, I'm good. I'm shocked that I didn't get it. Whereas women are going to be like checking every box. You know, I wake up, my wife is looking at me in the middle of the night. Hey, you look, what were you thinking about stuff? Women think through things, they're very precise a lot of times. How do you set culture in an organization so that the women will speak up and say, I'd like to take a shot at that opportunity.
That is a great question.
I was going to say that too, Mike.
I got one.
We don't even.
One of my
questions
thing,
for you.
I got one good question. Sorry, Lexi, but you know what time it is. You've been here before.
So, really, the military probably taught me command and control. So that's a leadership style. You tell people what to do and you lead people and they do things. The trust and inspire model, which is really more, I think, what more women bring to the table. It's more about helping people, leading people to do things versus telling people. So you have to build a trust environment where people feel, remember the old open door policy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I worked for some people that had a closed door policy. They just kept the door shut. But truly, an open door policy means you're having skip level meetings. You're not just meeting with your people that are direct reports. You're meeting throughout your organization and saying, hey, how's it going? How are things? What's your boss like? Do you like what you're doing? What do you think about expanding your remit? Are you doing any work that you think could be automated, could be stopped? And I think that's where you build that relationship, because people always look at you and go, oh, you're the big C and you're probably really busy. Well, if you design your organization well and you hire right, you're really not as busy as people think you are, because you need time in your day to think. That's what leaders have to have, is time to think. So I have time to think.
That deserves a book right there.
Exactly.
I have time to think.
Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and write that one down.
You gotta have time to think.
And I think another thing I want to bring up, because we kind of brought it up earlier, something I saw Patty do last week after she won this award. She also happened to have won another award at the same time. I saw it on LinkedIn, and it quoted her, I guess, as having a college degree. And she pointed out right there on LinkedIn in her comments, I want to highlight that I do not have a college degree. That's about trust and everything. And let's talk about that, because a lot of people think you have to have a college degree to get into technology. And previously you kind of did in some, in many cases. So I know we're trying to lower that expectation. Talk about that.
Well, what I love about this country is anybody can be anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you look at the very top of the country, there's proof. Anybody can anybody can be anything. And I remember Ronald Reagan, we thought, an actor? And
you said that.
I did. He was an actor.
Yeah. We were shocked. Hey, remember, people don't realize I was in when Reagan came in and we got an increase in pay. You tell what military folks didn't love him. Yeah.
We did.
Yes,
we did. I sent him jelly beans.
Yes, we did.
When he got shot.
Yeah.
So but when you think about that, what a great country. That we actually can be I don't want to quote a military, be all you can be, but
that's what it is.
You really can. And so, yes, we want to get out of the stigma that you have to have a college degree, but you may not start at the top. You may start at the bottom and have to prove yourself. And then a good leader is going to help you get there. So I remember one of my first meetings with my team when I got to Markel, I only had 3 people. And it looked kind of like this guy in London was doing security. So we had a big powwow, and I put on the whiteboard organizational. I put my title, and then I put risk management or operations. And I said, all right, guys, put your name up where you think you fit. And darned if that guy from London didn't walk up and erase my name and put his. And I'm like, that's awesome. Now we need to figure out, how do we get you there? How do we get you to where you want to be? And that's where I think, it's important that you have education. Education comes in a lot of ways. I got a lot of college. I have a lot of training and a lot of school of hard knocks. But I'm telling you, you don't necessarily have to have the college degree in computer science. It does help. It does move things along faster. You're going to pick things up quicker. But don't diminish the thought that you can get into cyber. Don't think you can't, just because you don't have a computer science degree. I hired our admin. She had a college degree in she's actually a counselor, human psychology. I'm like, did you ever think about cyber? And she's like, oh, no. And I'm like, wouldn't you rather be in cyber than maybe the track you're currently on? Give us a try. So she's now just kicking it in AppSec. She's doing application security. It's amazing. So when you give people the opportunity and you help them, the humbling and being servant leadership, those are all important qualities, but you have to be able to show people that you can do it and be that leader for them.
On Mike, Patty, now those are nuggets of knowledge right there. That's what I'm talking about. And you are like the female Jack Ryan. People don't know.
He really is, and you can't talk about that. But he really is.
That's the cool part about this right here. So Lexi, as we get ready to close out, we talked about sometimes people think technology can be sort of stuffy. Yeah. And you're an engineer too, so people could, shout out to Judy Fox was just here. We started out as an engineer. Synergy Technical is not that kind of place. So talk a little bit about, what women can expect and the opportunities the world can go out, what they can expect going into the workplace. Like, it's not always drudgery. There are some great opportunities, and the persons out there can look to find something that appeals to them.
Well, going back to what Patty was saying about finding a good organizational and personality fit, as well as, actually a job that you're interested in. If you're doing what you love, you never work a day in your life. Isn't that the phrase?
That is true. I'm fooling people every day here.
But so if you're really passionate about that, it'll help you make a great fit, but also making the best of your organization. It's not, you see the Googles and like the Facebooks or Metas in the world, and you see like the slides in their office and the unlimited snack bar and hoverboards across the campus and all that. You're not going to find quite that much intensity and fun and playfulness in these smaller companies, but you get the freedom to do what you want. I'm grateful that Ro allows me to come on with you, because I have a feeling if I was in a more regulated industry, then I wouldn't be able to say anything about myself or my role. So I think it's really important to know that choose a company that fits your personality. If you want to be heads down, taskmaster, do that.
There's a place for that. There are places for that.
Yes, but if you want to have fun and really love your team and find an engaging team, make sure that when you're accepting a role, you're not accepting it because of the title or the company that will look great on your resume, but you really fit there, because that can make or break your work experience, and it might burn you out way faster than you needed to be burnt out.
Good, that's true.
Laura Jennings, this has been what we thought it would be.
Yeah,
excellent. It is. I mean,
I wish we could talk another hour. This
I
is
know,
great.
talking women in tech. I mean, there's some things you guys are leading the way. And meeting people at different levels. I always talk, so me and my wife, we live at the pay it forward model. You were dropping some things right there that change a person's life. When you talk to a person and the things you've seen, the things you could talk about all along the way, those are not all necessarily taught in a college classroom. Those are things you learn on the street. And then you talked about that, and it makes a difference. On the sales side, it's hard, when we're talking selling tech. So when you talk about being old, I used to sell tech back in the day. I did. I used to sell tech when we had one-way routers. And so people would call up. And so I'm selling IT. And so we're talking to a person who does security. And so I said to the guy, hey, what happens if your site gets hacked? Well, I'm like talking to the wrong guy. I need the person who has a meltdown. That's the person whose job is on the line, because your site and your security were not there. Back in the day, that was guys. Now you're talking to women, and it's an opportunity. So congratulations, ladies, on the achievement. This is exactly what we're thinking about, putting somebody who's been down the road. You can look back and say, hey, if I were you, you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. I'm down here, and next thing you know, you have an opportunity. So here's Lexi. People are looking at you going, wow, she's getting paid to be talking about that stuff. That is something right there. So congratulations, Lori Jennings. How can people find you out there?
Again, my LinkedIn, which is Lori Jennings, Lori with a J, Jennings, or my website, JenningsProSearch.com.
Patty, RVA Tech, congratulations on what's it, lifetime achievement?
Lifetime achievement.
That's a big one.
That's a rough.
I'm ready to retire.
That's a Mount Rushmore thing going on right there. Like, oh, Lordy, okay. For you, as you're looking at your career now, what's the next thing for you? Important wise, business wise?
Just, I'm not going anywhere. I love Markel and I love Richmond. I'm not going anywhere. Probably what's next for me is what I've been doing, only better.
So really quickly, okay, if we get out, how do you know the right opportunity? So you've done a number of things. When you go along that, boom, that's the thing. How do you pick out?
Well, I have done some really great companies and I have picked some bombs. So I've done the bomb. I have been.
Did you know there were bombs when you do you know it's a bomb right from the beginning, or do you do an optimistic line?
Oh no. You got a honeymoon period, man.
It's
It's a honeymoon period, even though people warned me. But
you didn't listen.
I have been fired twice. And each time I've picked it up and said, I had sour grapes and a pity party for a little while. And then I said, okay, what am I going to learn from that? And then put it behind you and move forward and say, these are qualities and things that I'm going to put in my do not do to my people bag. Right. And then there is the whole, I don't want to be like that. I want to be like that.
People don't know what good leadership is.
Until you see bad.
You better believe it. And that's, like you said, military forces people to listen to me because of the rank.
Yep.
But you don't inspire people. That's what you're doing, ma'am.
I have a super quick question for Patty, and I think you're going to like it.
Okay.
This is one that I used to ask all my mentors because it helps people realize that it's okay to mess up. What is the biggest mistake you've made in your professional career, whether that be taking down a data center or if it's just like a leadership mistake? I really think that this is a great one too.
Definitely.
All right.
Getting a pen and paper.
I know. I feel that I sprung this on you.
That's all right. It's an easy one to remember because it was so painful.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold up the painful one.
It was so painful. I did a distributed denial of service attack on the Treasury network. Sorry, the TSA network. Right when Homeland Security and TSA were co-domain sharing, which meant Homeland Security was on our network. And I fat fingered a Nessa scan, which is a scanning tool that scans the network. And I took the network down.
Wow.
And you still won Lifetime Achievement Award.
I had to go tell the CIO I did it because that's what you do. When you screw up, you got to say, I did it. And put your hand up.
Okay, babe.
It was bad.
We see that commercial that said, want to get away? What was that walk like to go and explain what just happened?
It was
painful.
It was painful, but it was very much like I had a lot of experience as a teenager of what that was going to feel like. So
what the woodshed was going to look like.
Right. Don't pick the thinnest switch.
Yeah,
when you got to pick your switch.
You went and took them. But now when that happened and you saw how they dealt with you, now when you're a leader and somebody comes in with the colossal mistake, how do you treat them?
You know what? Let's learn from it. Let's do a lessons learned and let's move on. Don't ever do it again. Because there's that. You mess up once, I'm all about it. If you do the exact same thing twice, then we got to have a deeper conversation. So, but you got to learn, right? Lesson learned.
Yeah.
But we've all done them. What I really dislike is when people don't fess up.
Yeah.
Come on, just come in and say, I did that. Because people will respect you more when you do that. And that's something that I try to impart on my team. Screw up, fess up.
That ought to be on a
t-shirt.
Exactly. Fess up. Make it really quickly. All right, on the mic, Mike King here. This has been outstanding. We had Lori Jennings here. You're going to hear some outstanding things. She knows some really cool people, and I always say cool people know cool people. And so, ladies, congratulations. Any words of wisdom on the way out?
Wow, I don't know. Gosh,
But she thought she was coming here and not talking. We're in a radio. We're in a radio show.
I would say so one of the career questions I just want to tell people, don't be scared to take a step backwards or to take a step sideways sometimes in their career. As a recruiter, I see this too often, and this is for women and men. They're constantly they always want to take 2 steps forward, and they're not willing sometimes to get the best jobs, to get the best opportunities. You do have to go laterally or backwards. And that's how I got into this career. I was a career change person in my 30s and had to take a big step backwards before. And I would never do anything. I can't imagine any other industry than tech. So I'm so glad I did it.
There you go. Words of wisdom, Lori Jennings. On the mic with Mike. As always, say, hey, make sure you take a listen to our sponsors, advertisers, sponsor right there, because the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff. So we got to run. So in honor of these ladies right here, here we go. We got to go.
Well, you know who I am. Make sure you check out my man, Mike King Biz. His program, On the Mic with Mike RVA, business-ish radio program in RVA. King Biz Radio can be heard on ESPN Richmond 106.1 and The Choice 105.3. Me and Minnie listen every day, and you should too.
On the mic with Mike King here. That's Disney talking right here. Only the best happens here. That's why I got these ladies in with me. We got to run. As I always say, the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff. We got to go. Take care now. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back to the podcast, folks. This is a fun one. After 24 years of marriage and a house full of girls, when a lady looks up and speaks with authority and says, stand up, I just do it, y'all. So I know I'm not the only one. This one turns out to be exactly what I needed. All right. So today we're talking with Pollyanna about what happens when the right person shows up in the right room at the right time. And also why trust, presence, and real connections still beat fake networking any day of the week. All right. So welcome to the show, Pollyanna. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate you and in this amazing morning.
Okay. My pleasure. And we have my version is funny, right? So,
yes,
we all have our perspectives. So it's fun every time we talk about this, and I wanted to bring it out to the world here. So let's get going. So you went to Podfest, right?
Yes.
What was it that drew you to Podfest? Was that your first time? Why did you go?
Yeah, it was my first time. I had just launched my first episode of my podcast that week, and it all started in, I think, September, when I went to VidFest in Atlanta, and that's when I realized, hey, like, podcasting would be a really great thing for me to build authority so that I can promote my institute. And I decided, I'm just going to ahead and do it. And then Podfest happened, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go there and meet other podcasters, get to know more about this industry, because everything was new to me. And that's where I was. I was just there absorbing information, getting to know people, and I just love interacting with other fellow human beings and I love the environment in Podfest because there's so many creatives.
Oh, yeah.
It is amazing.
Well, so here's what I want the folks out there to know. When you build trusted relationships that lead to profitability, right? Lead to visibility, warm introductions, collaborations, you can't do by just sending out cold DMs, right? You go meet people virtually. We went and met in person. So here's what I want to ask you a few questions, but I want to set the stage. It's like a ping pong game. If you hit the ping pong across the table to someone who doesn't like ping pong or play much, it's going to be a little wonky, right? So it is the same principle when we go out there and try trusted relationships with people who just don't either need, value, or operate that way. Doesn't mean they're wrong, just means it's awkward, right? And so I want people to understand this. When you hit the ball to someone who's an Olympic level champion, oh, Pollyanna, you're going to know it when they hit it back, right? When they return that ball, their actions is going to indicate, oh, this is somebody on my wavelength. So on that premise, what made you turn around? So I came to support Nathan, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in the previous episodes too. But I went to support a younger guy named Nathan. And then we were in the room. You turned around, right? And here's my perspective. You said, hey, Mike, you looked at my name tag, asked me who I was. I was very, very in my own head, right? I was working through some things that I couldn't find a solution for. And then you said, stand up, to which I did, because again, 24 years of being around a house full of women, I just kind of got that habit. So what made you turn around and engage with me in that moment?
It truly was what you had told Nathan right before, which is so cool, because Nathan had said, I want to share with you guys my school community, and this is my #1 student, pointing to me because I had just met him in the hallway, and I'm like, I liked him so much. He was so knowledgeable. And I said, I want to be in your school community. So I was his number one student, right? And when he mentioned that, I remember you said, hey, Nathan, you did so great. You've been able to explain all this AI stuff for me. You're the most clear speaker. You know, I mean, you were so nice and encouraging to him. And then you said, I want to be your number two student. And that's when I turned around and said, no, you cannot be number two because this girl right here is number two. You can be number three. And you laughed. And the fact that you took it all in such great humor, that's what tells me, you know, like what you're saying, the ping pong, you know, if people laugh, if people are like in a good brain juice, you know, like good spirits, fun spirits, and you're taking it good, then I thought, oh, okay, this is someone nice to talk about, to talk things about. And so when it was over, I just turned around and said, so who are you? I want to know more about you.
So again, thank you for that, because people, myself included, for a long time, Pollyanna, and the folks listening, a lot of times we forget when you go to the right room, right? You pick the right spot and you go in with the mindset of building relationships, getting to know folks. I didn't come in talking about me, neither did you. We were already in the room to share and grow, and we were there to support someone else. That was a common ground. So I want people to know that's not how it starts. Yes, you have to have your messaging and funnels and all. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying amplify the hell out of it by putting the horse before the cart. What is the horse? Trusted relationships, going out there and just trying to find other birds of a feather. And that's how we connected. So what did you see in me that made you turn around and say, stand up and walk me through that 5-minute NLP tactic that actually worked and was a blessing in the moment? I was so in my own head, and you saw that. What made you see that and say that?
Well, when I asked you, so who are you? I have no idea who you were, right? We had not seen each other in Podfest. I think it was the last day, right?
I think so, yeah.
Last day. Yeah, it was the last day. And when I asked you, so what do you do? And you started talking, rambling. And I was like, what is he saying? I could not even understand what you were saying. And I was like, stop.
So unprepared, yeah.
So that's why I said, okay, stand up. You know, do you have a goal that you want to accomplish, but you know how to do it, but you haven't been able to do it yet, right? I mean, I was trying to give some clarity to this conversation because the way you were talking, you were confusing me. And so I was like, wait, you know, and that's what I loved about you, that you actually stood up and you played along. Many people will be like, whoa, what are you doing, lady, right? And I was not, you know, I went with the flow there because I love what you said about the ping pong. I said something, you came, and the result that you got was because you really have a beginner's mind. You're very coachable. You really want to absorb the knowledge, and you are open-minded to some strange woman that's telling you, okay, imagine this. What do you see here? Where do you see it? And you were playing. And I see it as a play, a game. You know, we were ping-ponging here. If you had put the brakes at any moment, we wouldn't have gotten to where we went. Like, you didn't pay me for a session. I didn't make you do this. It was just a nice conversation, right? And that's what it was.
It goes right back to what we said in the previous month, right? In this episode, that the Costco method, the sample table method. What impressed me about you is that you were going around looking to build relationships and finding a legit opportunity to bring value. I saw you do this to someone else. You walked up, struck up a conversation. Next thing I know, I come back down the hallway and you're doing the same thing with someone else. And not that you do it to everyone, but think about it. Like I always say, when Gotham City puts out Batman symbol, who are they trying to attract? Not a trick question. Like Batman. And that was the mentality. And that was the Olympic level ping pong player that I saw in you. I said, wow, this is someone who understands how to generate value and curiosity in the most natural way. Because did everybody engage with you the same as I did and Nathan did? Or did you didn't go forcing this on everyone, did you?
No.
Yeah, you just did you.
You were the first one I did it. It was the last day. I went there to observe, watch, and everything. And because of you being so open-minded, it made me feel also comfortable sharing these gifts. And so the next time is this guy, hey, I saw you doing that to Mike. Can you help me? Of course. And then after that, another person, hey, I just saw you doing this. Can you help me? Of course. And that day, I think I worked with 3 or 4 people. I was exhausted and drained, but once you're in that role, it just happens. And then people approach, and when they approach and they want something, of course I'm going to give it, right? Because I have a talent, I have a gift, I want to share it. I was not there to sell services or anything like that, but if someone comes and asks for help, of course I'm going to do it, right? And so but you open that door, so it goes both ways.
It does.
Help
Take
me
2 to tango.
Yes, I hadn't done that in the whole podcast. I'm not going to, hey, let me hypnotize you. Nothing like that.
No, I love it because the compound effect continues to this day. It didn't just fizzle out, didn't die. Right now, you're in the Hounds and other folks. It just keeps going, and now you're here. So in 30 seconds, I'm going to ask 2 questions. Well, what do people miss in your opinion? Because you know how to play this game, right? The relationship trust ecosystem. What do people miss when they try to force a connection rather than just reading the room and showing up as is?
What do people miss? They miss the authenticity, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We want to connect, and I see a lot of people with masks, right? That they want to appear as different ways, and at the end of the day, it all comes out from fear, right? You don't want to open up to other people and be vulnerable. I mean, that's something that I've struggled with, right? Because you don't want to open up to everybody. And so learning how to and when to open up and be vulnerable to other people, that's also a skill. That's something that we have to learn, and we learn it by trial and error, making mistakes, getting into the wrong situations.
Yeah.
But and then, people try to protect that. They want to appear in a certain way that maybe, portrays them in whatever field, the way they think they are. But then you lose that authenticity. It is a balance, right? Of being able to learning how to open yourself up and also being able to trust. And then sometimes it's like, I'm just going to trust. And so when I work with you, I was just me. And I don't know what it was, maybe because you laughed when I told you, hey, you're going to be number 3, and you took it so good. And sometimes it's that vibe, and that's what allowed me to open and give you all that.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly how it happened or not, but that's when I felt that was a strong connection, Mike, So I find that with you, I have found a friend, basically. So that's what it is.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And it's like throwing a fish back in water. You don't have to teach it to fish. You just got to put it in the right environment around other fish, right? That's the same thing. So I got about 20 seconds. I want you to share with the people, because folks, before we're business people, we're just people, right? And the more technology and things happen, and we don't know what's real, what's not AI generated. You're not alone. If you're sensing that craving, that belonging, and that trust factor in those relationships that move business forward faster, then hey, you're not alone. So close us out. What would you tell somebody walking into a room? They're nervous, they're unsure, they're maybe overthinking everything, right? With or without a camo hat. What simple advice would you give them if they're on that kind of nerves? If oh my gosh, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Pause. Take a deep breath in. Pause. Come back to whoever you want to really be, right? And then just go and associate with that good feeling of who you want to be. Or maybe remember a time where you were calm, like really calm, and then just go back there and just bring that in you. And then walk in the room like you own the room. Like, occupy the space where you are. Actually, I learned this from my dog, actually.
Like you own the room. Like you own the room. That perfect.
You own the space that you are feeling. This is where we are. We have a part in this universe, right? And we are part of it. And where we are, it's where we should be at this moment. and just be yourself as much as you can. Of course, it takes practice, but but it starts with one day. And today maybe you are a minute into it, and then you're like freaking out. But then next time you might be 5 minutes. Because the more you practice, the better you're gonna get.
Hey, thank you for being bold. Thank you for aligning and the experience at Podfest and saying yes as this relationship unfolded. You're a blessing. Love having you in the Hounds. And remember, folks, just go pull out them kindergarten skills. Dust that shit off. Go out there and make a friend. You'll be amazed. Right? We'll continue to pick up the conversation. Pollyanna, you're amazing. We'll catch you on the next one, folks. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you.